All right. We are up Friday, April 11th. Welcome
Happy Friday.
to Multifamily Weekend Update, episode 32.
We made it. We're going live. Eric, you're dressed up again. I am a schlub, but I'm proud of it.
Sometimes we rise to the occasion, and other times we realize it's just the beginning of the quarter.
It is. It's still just the beginning. Started off last week. Tons of news. Tons more news this week. This week has been a lot of ups and downs. A lot of news coming out of LinkedIn, coming out of our industry, coming out of our country, our nation.
In fact, I believe we have a live shot on Capitol Hill.
Oh yeah, let's bring that on.
Let's cut to that.
Yeah, it's still going on, huh?
Yeah, it looks like they're still trying to figure out.
Do we know when it will, like, where it will stop, or what? Like, is it going to be Bugs or Daffy? Like, who's gonna?
There's no indication here. This is. I've been watching this early this morning. It's just been back and forth.
Yeah. We've been talking a little bit about tariffs in our industry, but not a lot. A couple people posted about it. Somebody started a big conversation. Todd Steckler started it, but there hasn't been a lot of stuff talking about it. A few folks in our industry, but it's still kind of something that we haven't really been speaking about mostly.
Yeah. Well, why don't we cover one or two things here, and then we'll bring our guest in. How about that?
Yeah, we could do that.
When are we bringing our guest in, by the way?
We were going to bring him at the top of the show, and then you change it last minute. And then I go with it because that's how we do it.
Why don't we bring in Joshua here?
Let's do that.
Let's go ahead and bring him in.
Hey,
happy to be a part of this.
Hey Joshua, thanks for hopping in here. Always nice to bring guests in on the top of the show. That way we can kick you off and let you get back to the rest of your busy day. But Joshua, tell us how you got into multifamily and what do you do?
Yeah, Craigslist finest right here. That's how I got into multifamily. So I was 2021 trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So we went on Craigslist looking for job leads, right? Had no money to spend, and general contractor wanted us to install some glass at a brand new lease up in Denver, Colorado. And just so happened the person who was managing that asset used to be the community manager at where I was living, right? So that gentleman's name was JJ. He moved on to a new asset, and here we are. We're on the same construction project. Quickly learned that glass was extremely dangerous and not something I wanted to do, not something that I wanted to be a part of. So I went knocking on JJ's door and said, "Hey man, got anything for me? Where can I help you?" Took him out for a beer, and we ended up landing the common area contract. That was December 2021. And since then, we've been kicking and screaming and growing the business here in Colorado. Been able to scale to Fort Collins and all the way down to Colorado Springs. So that's how we got started our multifamily, right?
That's awesome. And that was Pocket Aces Cleaning, is that correct?
That was Pocket Aces Cleaning, right? So started as a cleaning contractor, as a vendor, and as we continue to progress and get more deals, stuff like that, we started painting, started cleaning, started drywall repairs, make readies, you name it. So the origin story is Pocket Aces Cleaning started, and that's really how we started building tech, right? Because we were stressed out, we were going crazy, right? We were doing the work, we were invoicing the work, we were handling accounting, we were handling communication and relationships. And
the whole other side of a lot of this physical labor, the manual labor that is still required, right, in multifamily is the billing, the invoicing, the chasing down customers, the retrieving reviews to build the business, getting testimonials, right?
Yeah.
Hunting for new business. Yeah.
There's so much, right? There was so much going on, and I was just at a point where I was doing most of the work and I was just pulling my hair out, right? And I'm like, man, is there something out there that can help me? Quick Google search, stuff like that. There's software that exists, but I felt like there's just nothing specific for multifamily vendors, right? There's nothing specific to allow properties to schedule simply. There was nothing specific to document before and after pictures in a single place. So really we built tech. We built tech for ourselves. That was the birth of Shine, because we got tired of pulling our hair out and hearing properties, complain about invoices not being on time, properties complaining about, photos not being organized in a single place. And then when we started talking about economics with these properties, we realized that the make ready process was a mess and costing them net operating income. So we really wanted to make sure that there was a tech that could solve those problems, not just for on-site teams, but for vendors, right? We want to empower vendors to be successful, because when vendors are successful, properties are successful.
Yeah. What I love about this too is that it's, vendors and in this kind of role, especially, it's very localized. So we can talk all day about centralizing a company's operations, but the folks that live in Atlanta or Denver or Seattle are going to use the craftsmen, the service folks, the people that are in their area. And this is a great tool that they can kind of rely on to kind of, tap into that. I think it's very smart, and it's definitely nothing out there, because a lot of the tech is so focused on centralizing for a company, but not giving any way for those companies to easily do business. So nice work.
Correct. That's correct. I appreciate that. We're all about serving the underserved, right? Vendors are those people who they're the unsung heroes of our industry. Unfortunately, they don't get all the love that they deserve. And we've experienced that firsthand. So we wanted to give vendors the tools to succeed, but also make sure that they're keeping up with the demands of multifamily. It's crazy, right? We see more units than we ever have, right? Turns are happening, at a significant rate. And oftentimes vendors just get buried in that mix, right? So because they're localized, we realize that unfortunately, one bad deal can really impact their name, right? So if you give them the tools to succeed, they really have the opportunity to grow and scale and continue to establish relationships and be successful in the industry, right? We don't need any more vendors to leave the industry. We don't need any more maintenance guys to leave the industry. We want them to stick. We want them to stay. Yeah. And in order to do that, we need to give them the tools to stick around.
Very true, Joshua. Now tell me this: you had Pocket Aces cleaning, you started Shine Network. Why create a product that technically allows others to compete with you better? I mean, why would you, make it easier for competitors to win bids? Tell me. I mean, what's kind of like the end game with this?
Man, there's this quote I live by: #EBE. What does that mean? Everybody eats, right? There's enough for everybody to be successful in this industry. I grew up a vendor, grew up selling burritos, knocking doors, shoveling snow. And I know firsthand the experiences and the challenges that come with being a vendor, right? I'd much rather provide software to empower vendors than run a successful service-based business. It's great to do both. Absolutely, it's great to do both, and we're fortunate to do that. But at the end of the day, my mission is to empower the underserved. And that's why I decided to launch Shine Network and license it out to vendors everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. Eric, I think we have a Mr. Prop Tech question too, right?
We do, although I'm not seeing it in my chat. So
it's somewhere. Well, I think he asked why the name Shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Sorry. That was an offline question. Yeah. Okay. So why Shine?
Yeah. Why the name Shine? I mean, I think first off, cleaning, right? You want to make things shine. You want to make them look great. You want to look perfect. So that was part of the thought process. But really, we want to put vendors in the light that they deserve, right? We want to shine the light on the vendors. We want to make sure that they're given love. And that's why Shine was developed. We also wanted to be different. More importantly, SHINE is not a domain name that's available, right? So we had to get creative. That's why,
as tech companies do often. Yeah. I think most tech companies misspell things for certain reasons. I think you have a pretty good reason.
Yeah. Putting vendors in the spotlight and making sure that we're in a position that we can do that is why Shine Network was chosen.
Awesome. And I know that you're building Shine Network right now. Tell us, where is the business and where are you headed?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Shine Network as a company is officially revenue generating. That's something we're extremely proud of. We have a handful of vendors who are licensing the product here local in Colorado. And where we're headed is continue to prove out our concepts, partner with some property management companies that want to introduce us to their vendors. Where we're headed is, developing relationships with people who align with our values, and our values is to empower vendors. So if we can find PMCs that align with those values, hopefully they're kind enough to introduce us to their vendor network. And from there, we'll make sure that every party wins and the client vendor relationship is strengthened.
Nice.
So hopefully one day we're knocking down national doors and we're used as the accountability tool on a national level as far as the make ready process is concerned. That's obviously the goal. We're really focused on, continuing to prove out concepts here in Colorado. And as we continue to gather more data and more, we're interested in some of those national partnerships. We really think that our tool has the ability to improve NOI and get units back on the market faster. So if you're a property management company that wants to do that at no cost, you're able to accomplish that by introducing us to your vendor network.
That's great. Are you guys going to be at Apartmentalize?
Man, I was just talking to Justin. I've never been there before. I would love to be at Apartmentalize. I think I'll show my face. We may or may not have a booth, but
there is a startup section that they have. That's like, you don't have to have a booth. You just have a little kind of kiosk area. That might be something to look at. But we do hope to see you there.
We'll be in the room. We'll make sure that we're shaking hands and creating connections as much as we possibly can.
Awesome.
I like that. Yeah. Well, Joshua, thank you so very, very much for hopping on here. And any predictions for multifamily before we let you go? What's it going to look like in the next couple of years?
I think as a vendor, speaking from a vendor perspective, everyone has to become more well-rounded. Properties are looking for one-stop shops more than ever. Properties are looking to streamline communication more than ever. I think the future looks like people utilizing Shine Network to ensure that their vendor relationships are going to, essentially provide what they hope for from an experience perspective, right? You're not going to have a carpet cleaning vendor, painting vendor, cleaning vendor. You're going to have vendors that do it all. And you're going to have vendors utilizing technology and AI to improve the experience for properties. Otherwise, if you're not a forward-thinking vendor, unfortunately, you might be left behind. So I think the future looks like vendors doing more than ever, but utilizing AI to help them improve the experience for their clients, help utilizing AI to take advantage of admin and invoicing and all of these things, right? I think AI isn't going to replace essential workers. I think AI will empower essential workers more than ever before. It may replace, engineers and other people like that, but I don't think they are going to replace the essential people turning wrenches with rags in their hand, putting paint on walls. It's just going to make their lives easier so they can focus on providing quality work opposed to doing office work.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well said. Well, thank you so much, Joshua. Appreciate you.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. We'll see you at Apartmentalize.
All right, man. See you there. Thanks. Bye.
Good stuff.
All right.
Let's keep it rolling.
We'll keep it rolling here. Thanks, Joshua, for hopping on.
Yeah. So there's some big news out of Morgan Properties, right? They had some big growth. I believe also Greystar had some growth. Morgan Properties, I think, gained 11 properties in the Midwest, totaling about 3,000 units. It was a deal that they bought from Trilogy Real Estate Group. There was also some news out of Greystar where they're almost reaching, I think, 1 million units, which is a big deal.
Wow. That's
they
incredible.
Surpass it very soon. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will bring up, Jay Parsons talks about rent growth is slowly crawling upward. We're coming up on a
Let me get my magnifying glass out.
21 month high here. So Jay, thanks for putting this nice little chart here.
Yeah.
I do like seeing a soft curve upward. I think that's
positive.
Positive is good. Seeing that trend upwards is good. And of course, we'll find out, with all the tariffs sliding the scale up and down and back and forth and left and right, we'll find out how this affects things in the next couple of years, causing maybe some little hiccups or delays or massive stoppage.
Right. Right. Yeah.
As things like steel prices were, in the mix, wood in the mix, like, lumber. But there's some more announcements coming here as well.
Yeah.
Model, which is centralization plus automation. First and foremost, Funnel has always believed that the future of multifamily is about humans plus AI and not the other way around, not AI designed to replace humans. We want to accelerate the success that our partners have had in embracing the full-blown model, which is centralization plus automation. But we want to help those that really just want to start with the automation side, the AI side. Phoenix is about accelerating your optionality with AI. For those who look at centralization and say, man, that's a lot of work, I don't even know where to start. Phoenix is about the first step.
So that was launched this week, right?
Yep. Phoenix. So that was Tyler Christensen, CEO of Funnel. Funnel has announced a standalone product that they've been using internally within their organization, primarily with their enterprise clients. Essentially, they have, when they made an acquisition with LeaseHawk, they've combined a bunch of elements together to create this product.
A rebirth, rising from the AI ashes.
That's right.
Glorious Phoenix, right?
Yes, that's right. So as Lisa, yes, I won't say my joke that I was going to say earlier, but
what was it?
But I know. So LeaseHawk is as LeaseHawk turns into a pigeon, if you will, after having its wings clipped. Now, Funnel is turning into a tornado, a full-blown tornado, increasing velocity.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff about AI, right? And these guys are definitely out in the forefront of it, but we see it kind of everywhere all the time.
Yeah. It's great to see, Funnel rolling out this product to the rest of the industry, right? It lets the rest of the industry take advantage of it. Why let the enterprise clients and have all the fun?
Right, exactly. There was more AI, right? There was a panel this week.
I wasn't able to attend, but tell me, I need tangible evidence from you of things that you learned. So
yeah, well, I know most of these guys, or have seen most of these guys talking about AI in some way, either in content or webinars or even live. So I was expecting something. I was expecting to learn a lot, and I actually did learn something. If you go to the next slide, I can show you what I learned how to do.
I will. However, I do want to bring something up here, though. I have a problem with, this is not a stab at them, but I have a problem that there are no females.
That's another call out. You should talk.
I just want to bring this up.
I know we have to get more female guests. We just,
I'm calling out right here. I think
100%
that there's plenty of women in multifamily, doing great things in AI. And I would love for those people to get tagged. I want to highlight them. So if anyone's listening or watching, please tag or highlight someone who is a woman who's doing great things in AI.
Agreed.
And Justin, I will show what you figured out here. Oh, this is what you figured out?
Yeah, so I learned how to do this from the webinar. No, I didn't learn how to do it from the webinar. I would say that this is not a practical application of AI, but it sure is a fun one.
Well, yeah, because your hair looks way better in real life. So obviously,
yeah. And I actually put you in the laptop. It doesn't look like you exactly, but that's Multifamily Weekend update there in the laptop. So I was impressed with what they did.
I am more impressed with what Christy did.
Speaking of women in AI, I mean, Justin Jones, who was on the panel before, actually does a series with Christy Fickert here. This was a good one that she put together. This panel was not about Mattel toys or action figures, by the way. It's just that trended heavily this week. This panel actually gave some good advice on how to create your own Chris Marino. No, it actually gave good advice on, how to recap notes, using a notebook. It had how to leverage different tools, ChatGPT for research. So there is a link, right, for this. We'll drop it in the comments.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
We'll put it in our comments. There is a link. Follow Jonathan or any of these folks. You'll see a link. They did a live panel this week on LinkedIn. It was really great.
Yeah, not in my show notes.
It
here,
was
but
in
that's
your
okay.
email because you told me to email it to you.
It's in my
You told me
email.
to email it to you.
Oh yeah, right
Yeah.
here. All
Yeah.
right, let's go. I could pop
It's all
it in
right.
here. Let me see here. Actually, I'll put it in the chat. Why don't we do
Okay.
that? Why don't we? It may not post in some channels according to the internet. Yeah, LinkedIn's read only. That's interesting.
All right.
Well, we'll figure things out as we go along here. I will go ahead and just throw it up
In case.
as a
Okay.
caption.
Do it.
Yeah, let's do this stuff live. We just figure these things out live. So the AI panel, if you want to see the event, it is here. But basically, yeah, great panel. It sounds like I'm glad you learned some things. I look forward to more tangible evidence. I really like to see live evidence of.
I think that's the
happening.
thing is and they showed some stuff. Or they talked through some stuff. I think we all kind of know about some of these tools, but when you start putting practical applications to it and walking someone through, that really makes these conversations and sessions more interesting.
Yeah, good. Perfect. Yes. And by the way, I will mention, I'm trying to get this thing out of here. I will, there's a great comment here. Jennifer Carter brought up Whitney Kidd is someone you should definitely follow.
I follow
Obviously, we
her.
talked
She's
about
a lot of
Christy.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yep. And we'll be talking about that inside of the Multifamily Media Network. We'll be talking about lots of things like AI and leasing. And this will be at Apartmentalize as well.
All right.
And speaking of exclusivity and winning awards and being the best at what you can be, G.I. Joe, you can win an award as a supplier. And you're running out of time, though. So Revise has a best of category awards. There are some specific restrictions. So, for example, you need to have a claimed account and be active. You need to have a logo and a description, but most importantly, you need at least 5 verified reviews racked up within the last 12 months in Revise. So, in all honesty, if you're a supplier, you could probably knock this out. If you only have a couple of reviews, you could probably get up to the minimum 5 here and potentially win. But we will likely mention some of these award winners. I think this is important in terms of figuring out which suppliers are truly captivating the market and defining what it is to be best in class.
Yeah, and it's and all of these different all of these different companies and different associations have various awards, and it's great to be able to see where there's overlap, where people get awards in various kind of categories across different competitions or different platforms, and where there's differences. So you can learn a lot by comparing these to other other category, I don't know what you call it, awards programs or awards nominations or anything that gets out there in the space. There was some other news too about out of Venn following a trend that our industry has sort of embraced in more recent years, really hiring outside the industry and bringing some experts in. Who did they hire, Eric?
They hired Mark Matthew, who is an SVP, former SVP of AI transformation over at a very small global company called Salesforce.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. I mean, it's, we all know that multifamily is an industry that you have to learn. It is not necessarily something that mirrors everything in other industries. But the more that we break open that silo and take in good information, good ideas from other industries, the stronger and more forward we're going to be. So that's great to see.
Yeah, and speaking of incredible things being done with AI, I'm going to show a good example here, or maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I'll pop in a video here. of some interesting AI usage. We're all trying to figure out how we can use AI to our advantage, and using it for marketing purposes is obviously an obvious thing. And I really like it when CEOs embrace it. And there's a case where there's a CEO wanted to demonstrate a product that they have, but they also want to figure out, can I use some AI to help support me? So let's take a look at this example.
Today, I want to briefly introduce how we've deployed technology as a core part of Hello Package's logistics management service, making it intelligent, secure, and effortless for everyone involved. At Hello Package, our rooms are designed for the modern multifamily delivery experience, resident-friendly, highly secure, and fully streamlined for delivery drivers. Our LED-guided, open shelving zones deliver 4x the capacity of traditional locker systems, while still allowing residents to retrieve packages in 15 seconds.
I like that he broke everything down as he's doing this, right? Like really specifics. I think that's great.
In packages in under 10 seconds.
And Paul is using an AI, what I believe is an AI voice, like a recreation of his voice here. I don't even know if he's physically doing this. I believe this is a recreation using his hand movements and some other interesting effects here. So this could allow, this is a great example of allowing marketing teams to have their CEO perpetually creating content without physically needing their CEO in a room creating that
And if
content.
you look at their content, like a few days later, they use the same video still and repurposed it to show how they could repurpose the package room into like an indoor urban farm. Basically, so how they could use the same things, the hydroponic farming, very cool. But it was the same shot of him, and they might have just repurposed the talk track in it. I don't know, but it's amazing to see what AI can do.
Great. I think it's an interesting use of technology for sure, and I'm glad to see that it's being put into use. So is that it? Do we have anything else here?
I mean, there's tons of news everywhere. I mean, there was a great mural in Hyattsville, Maryland that opened up on a Greystar property. You should check out that mural artist. There's news everywhere. If you have news, you can always drop it into the feeds either during the show or after or on the comments of these things, because the more that we know about things going on, the more we can talk about it, or the more we can start looking for other news when that comes out. So I love that stuff. But that's about all.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I guess that's it, huh?
That's all. That's all she. There got to be a way. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all, folks.
That's all, folks.